Hello everyone. Today I will be going over Apple stock. Just to start off, I'm no stock guru, but I will say that I'm a software engineer who thinks about stock and loves studying stock in my spare time just because I love investing and I love putting money in the stock market. But I also love trying to make smart decisions, and so today I will be telling you the research that I found out about Apple stock and whether or not I think it's a buy or a sell. I like covering both sides, the reasons why I think it's a buy and also reasons why I think it's a sell. Stick around and let's see both sides of the story, why Apple stock is a buy, why Apple stock is a sell. Disclaimer, this is educational content, not to be taken as financial advice. Things in here may be my opinion, but please, if you're thinking about investing, consult a financial professional. Ticker AAPL has a market cap of $3.14 trillion. Timmy, if you want to just give me a little bit more of that, I love that because I want an iPad Pro so badly. In 2024, Apple had $391 billion in revenue. Is that right? Wow. Billion with a B. Just so you know the breakdown, it's about 51.4% an iPhone. I got myself an iPhone and I'm an iPhone guy, not an Android guy. Although I could do both, I've done both, okay? So I'm not like hardcore on whatever side, just so you wanna know a little bit about me. I love programming Android stuff, just for the record. Gosh, I'm a nerd, okay. Mac was about 7.7%, iPad 6.8%. I still want that iPad Pro. Home and wearables was 9.5%, and services was about 24.6%. Trailing 12-month free cash flow was about $98 billion. Net cash is about $35 billion. My net cash is about 1. Let me now break it down for the argument for the people that are saying that Apple is gonna keep going up. Right now, their services sector is growing 12% year over year. Code word, that's really good. The reason why that's really good is they're having a 75% gross margin on that. The next reason is Apple AI intelligence. I know that Apple intelligence has been kind of really not rolling out as smoothly as everyone has wanted to. Apple's not doing a great job with the AI rollout, and when they actually do it right, because eventually they will do it right. They have so much net cash that they can pay to do it right. And so when they do, eventually that stock is gonna go up and it's gonna reflect it because people are gonna get excited about it. Why else are they gonna keep going up? They're diversifying their supply chain from countries like China to like Vietnam and India. So they don't have all their eggs in one basket anymore, so they could potentially get better gross margins in the future. Their credit rating is so strong. They have such a strong balance sheet that they could kind of pivot wherever they want to. No matter what the future holds, they will always be able to have enough cash, enough corporate leverage, enough credibility in the market to be able to pivot to whatever the next thing is. Now, you say, oh, they haven't done a good job with AI. Well, they could kind of buy their way into whatever is the next big thing. And they want to make sure that they're doing it right. They know that AI, while everything's moving quickly, they could still buy their way in and get whatever company that they need to. And so even though they haven't done it quite yet, they're still not at risk, in my opinion, of losing this battle. Okay, so those are a few reasons why Apple right now is undervalued. But there are people that say that it's a little overvalued right now. And that argument can be kind of compelling. So let's hear it. Apple right now is trading at 33 times trailing earnings. That's above its 5-year average. So in other words, people are thinking that they're gonna earn more than they have been earning over the past 5 years. Now, I think people had a lot of confidence in the AI rollout, and maybe that will be the case. And so maybe some of this hype is justified, but that's already priced into the price of Apple as we see it, according to their average over the past 5 years. So maybe if this doesn't pan out for Apple, then it's overpriced right now. Another point, iPhone still drives like half of Apple's revenue. May data shows that foreign brand shipments in China specifically are down 9.7% year over year. So that shows me that in China, we're not as strong as we were last year, which is a little bit of concern because Apple relies on the iPhone for their success. We know that the iPhone comprises over 50% of their revenue year over year. So if that is going down in China by almost 10%, that's a big part of their potential market that should be growing because China is such a very strong and large country. And so if that's going down, then by almost 10%, that's a big problem potentially for the overall picture for Apple's revenue. And so that's a concern and also a case that maybe Apple stock isn't heading in the right direction. Another point, Apple is always facing regulatory pressure, whether it's from the EU for things like the App Store, where right now the App Store is absolutely crushing it, where they're taking very large margins off of developers' fees. Those could be potentially cut down significantly, right? And so if that sector gets cut down, that could take a huge hit to Apple's revenue that's growing pretty strongly right now, and where a lot of investors are really bullish on. That's part of the case where people are like, oh, Apple's so strong, right? Another point is tariffs. Tariffs are a potential issue because Apple relies a lot on imports, and it's estimated that this could cost around $900 million a quarter for Apple if imports, depending on what the tariffs are. So it could have a big impact on Apple's revenue, depending on how they pass along this to consumers and or whether or not they decide to take the hit. So it's kind of up in the air, but I don't want my iPad Pro to cost more money, so don't pass that along to consumers whenever I get that iPad Pro. Lastly, people are saying that Apple's overvalued. We'll point out the fact that they haven't executed well on AI. Now, this is hard to get around because I don't feel like they have executed well on AI. I wasn't trying to give my opinion, but it slipped out there. But Apple hasn't executed well on AI, and I think that people who are saying that Apple's a little bit behind will note that maybe they slipped up as a company, and that is part of AI is one very strong example of a technology that they're kind of missing the boat on, right? It's hard to argue with that. Overall, let's look at the overall picture, a balanced take of this stock, right? Some of the strengths. They have over 2 billion active devices. 2 billion. I don't have 2 billion of anything, not even 2 billion pennies. I haven't probably even taken 2 billion breaths. I wish I'd lost $2 billion because that means I was so powerful that I could play with $2 billion. But anyways, they have 2 billion active devices. They have a sticky ecosystem where people who are Apple people, they're Apple people. And they have amazing cash flow. Now, some of the risks, they are already a premium valuation. You know when you see that sleek Apple logo, that's premium. And you're paying a premium when you're buying their stock. There's a lot of regulatory overhang right now. That's another problem. And they're a little bit behind in the AI race. So are they overvalued, undervalued? Well, they have some pros and cons, and it's kind of up to you to say. Is Apple a buy, hold, or sell? There are some of the facts. There are some of the ideas. Kind of up for you to say. So where is Apple at right now? $211.18. That's a lot of money. Its 52-week high is $260-ish. It's not its entire high, but it is still near the higher end, right? So for me, if I'm thinking, is this a buy? I think that right now, it's probably more of a hold. And I say that for a few reasons. Number one, I think it's more of the execution on AI. And I'd say this because I know that they're gonna get AI rolled out and it's gonna work, but I don't think that it's gonna roll out and work super well, super quickly. I think that it's gonna roll out, people are gonna find bugs quickly, and it's gonna be posterized and noted very fast. People are gonna be like, hey, I asked Siri to call a pizza place and they ordered Hawaiian. And everyone knows that pineapple's not supposed to be on pizza. And so then people are gonna be all up in arms, and there's still gonna be complaints about it. And so it's not gonna be a clean rollout, I don't think, no matter what. That being said, I do think it's gonna be great, and I think it's gonna be marvelous, and I do think Apple stock is going to eventually do really well. But I don't think it's gonna be like a high growth company unless they start diversifying more rapidly into other sectors. Like, I love the fact that they were going to try to do that car project. I was pumped about that, the autonomous car, and I'm sad that that's not something that they're pursuing anymore. But I'm excited to see what they do in the future with other hardware tech products, because I know that there's other things out there, the other sectors that I know Apple could do a great job at. I'm excited to see what that is, because that will, I think, really balloon the stock. When even just the news of that comes out, I think it will balloon the stock. So right now, I think it's a hold. I think it will be a slow increase, but a steady increase over time. I think there are other stocks that your capital could be better invested in, but overall, it's not a bad move, I'd say. That's my opinion. Do not take that as investment advice. That's just what I would do. And I'm broke as heck, so you should definitely take my advice. Well, this has been an episode of me diving deep on a stock that you didn't even want to know about. Apple, I would have thought it was not a computer company. I would have thought, oh dang, that does some freaking good food company. Like, very organic, very real. No, technology. Apple, if you want to give me a free iPad Pro, I will change you to a hard buy. I will hard buy your stock. That's how easily I'm swayed. Just kidding. I'm here to provide educational content. So an iPad Pro won't sway me that easily. Maybe. Just kidding. I actually would. All right, that sums up Apple. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I know that I can blabber a lot and it can be kind of annoying, but I want you to like this video. If you think I've earned it, please, I did a lot of research. Like the video, subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.